This is the new Overlords Podcast, where we catch up on all things video games, which this week includes Starfield, my PAX West Roundup, No Man's Sky Expedition that dropped, the SWTOR update, new season, and Total Galactic War. All that and more, including another guest. I'm Jeff Illimek, aka Max the Gray, and with me is my co-host, Seema. Hello there,
Hi,
Seema.
Max. Hello, Max. Hello, everyone.
Hello, and hello, Corley.
How's everybody doing?
It's good to have Corley back. We've had Corley on before if people are familiar with the show. Plus, Corley is our ops leader, and we have ops right after the podcast. So this will be done on time because Corley will, he'll yell at us if we're not done on time. So
Yeah, so much yelling.
So let's get right into it. Let's get into the news.
Good news, everyone.
First up in the news, 3 little news items I wanted to sort of bring up. I thought it was interesting. The PlayStation Plus. So I don't have PlayStation Plus, but I do have Xbox Live, Xbox Game Pass. I have Xbox Game Pass. I've had Xbox Live Gold, Games for Gold in the past. I don't have PlayStation Plus, but this kind of is like floating around and people are chatting about it. And Forbes came up with this article, like time to cancel. They just raised the prices. So it's their annual price. They raised the price and they raised it a lot. They raised it like over 30% for their, and if you want to buy a year of PlayStation Plus. And they didn't like announce it. They didn't explain what they were doing and they still haven't said why. So everybody's kind of, it's just a little bit of buzz of industry news. Do we care? Does anybody care?
No PlayStation here.
And so, Corley, you said no PlayStation and no consoles.
No consoles. PC Master Race.
So you don't even have a Switch, right? So
No, I don't play Nintendo games. I never really did. I had
would.
the original Game Boy when it came back. It came out in 89.
Yeah.
I wish I still had
my
it.
kids,
No.
I think I might. My kids had the Game Boys and the Game Boy Advanced, and I would
Not me.
I would play like one Switch game a year, but that's it. So until it's more than one, I'm not going to buy a Switch. But I'm missing it. Wouldn't say I've been missing it, Bob. I'm missing the Zelda games. I want to play the Zelda games. I would try them.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not like dying to play them, but I would try them. Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. Tears of the Kingdom is probably going to be the number 2 on most people's best of the year game of the years, and not going to get to play it because
I mean, the only Nintendo game I ever really played was the original Zelda.
Yeah, right. And that's what it's for.
If they put it on Steam Deck, then maybe I'll play it.
There you go.
Right.
Because that's the only thing.
Same with Sony. I hate exclusives because it's the same with Sony. I want to play, and I will when they bring it to PC. I want to play Horizon Forbidden West. I played.
Is that not already on?
No, it's Sony. It's PlayStation exclusive still, and they're like dragging their feet to bring it to PC. It's bothering me. Anyway, So is that because I played for the first one, Horizon
Zero Dawn,
and I liked it.
Yeah, I have it. I have that, and I'm trying to play it with a controller. And
I played it on the PC.
I'm not a controller person, but I'm trying to.
Also, I thought this was a good. I haven't had time to get back to Baldur's Gate this week, so I put this just in the news. They're continuing to put out bug fixes, which is great. This one.
But I mean, is that look on his face a bug?
No, that's what he does. That's
I know,
but he does
I'm
it
saying.
like 5 minutes into the game. That's the
what
point.
he's
It was too
to-
early. Gail's like, "Hey, how you doing?" Like right away.
I don't like Gale. Gale killed me multiple times.
I kind of don't like Gale as a companion either. I mean, he's got really powerful spells. I mean, you do like the fireball and you do his chaos orb or whatever. It's super powerful, but he dies like instantly.
Yeah,
And-
has he died for you?
Well, I save scum, but he gets like down.
Yeah.
He gets downed constantly.
So he downed on me one time, and I went over to res him, and he killed me because he's got this cloud of stuff around him.
Oh, if he dies, yeah.
Yeah.
If he dies.
And
If
he
he's just
died.
like down, if he's down for the count, it's doing the rolls, then. But yeah,
no, he got obliterated. But
he's bad news when he dies. He will kill you and your whole party with
he
his
killed my whole party.
aura.
I was like, what the?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
anyway, this is still a thing, and supposedly it was a bug that they were like into you too soon. They're still into you. And I'm still convinced that this is why Baldur's Gate is so popular, because it's a dating simulator and it's softcore porn. Every thread, every popular upvoted thread, every thread on Reddit, all I see in my feed is people talking about Baldur's Gate, but not talking about, hey, did you see this fight, or this is a build, or these abilities. It's all like, hey, did you know you can have sex with a mind flare? Oh, how do you do that? Let's talk about that. Oh, hey, did you know you can have a 4-way with drow? Oh no, let's talk about that now. Guys,
this is a family-friendly podcast, right?
Well, yeah.
I'm joking.
The latest upvoted thing that popped into my Reddit feed this morning was somebody, and it's upvoted. The sex isn't hardcore enough. The sex scenes, because it's full nudity, and
what is wrong with these people?
It's and like it's relatively graphic and full nudity, but it's not hardcore enough for these people apparently. So I'm convinced that that's why Baldur's Gate is so popular. I'm also convinced that that's why Starfield's getting like 8 out of 10s and 9 out of 10s, and people are downvoting it because there's not enough sex in it.
Busy.
You can't romance your ship.
Yeah, you have romantic companions, but they're not like jumping your bones instantly. And you can't have sex with your ship. You can't have, whatever. I don't know what's going on. All right, enough of that. I will get back to Baldur's Gate, but I haven't played any Baldur's Gate in the last week, even though I had it on my Steam Deck, but I didn't play it on the road. I'll get to what I played. And then I thought this was amusing. I didn't play Stray. Did either of you two play Stray? You didn't play Stray,
no.
But we looked it up.
No, I didn't play it. I did see some videos, and my daughter played it, and she liked it.
Also, +1 to every star, and +1 to every X out of 10 on this game because it's a cat. But also supposed to be a good game, and it did look pretty good, and it's unique, which I really like. I like games that try to do something different. Anyway, the news is that it's going to get a live action film, apparently. No,
Wait,
animated film.
Okay.
I was
It's
going to say,
animated.
it's going to be live action, like the live action version of Lion King.
Yeah. No, it's going to be like the
Warcraft?
Broadway version of Lion King, where it's people and puppets.
Yeah.
With a puppet.
No, it's going to be like Cats then, huh?
No, that cat. Yeah, Cats. That was disturbing. No, I guess it is animated. It says right here, Variety magazine.
Oh, that's good.
Animated
That should be
film
good, then.
and adaptation from Annapurna Studios. All right, so that's cool. Chat room is saying, yeah, mods will fix Starfield and put all the porn that you want into it. Yeah, we'll talk about that. There's like over 700 mods already. And they haven't even put out the full mod tools.
So Stask is talking about the Strays movie already, but yeah, that's not the same thing. Yeah, it's not a kids movie. It's not a kids movie.
Stray the cat movie. Oh, I even had the video of the cat. Where's the cat? The trailer where the cat does its. Oh, there's stupid Baldur's Gate. Oh, there's the cat. Go back, cat. There's a little cat. He just walks around. He doesn't have guns. Seema thought the cat like. It was,
no, the robots that are with the cat.
No,
have
I
the
didn't
guns.
think the cat did, but I thought it was like. I thought it devolved into a game that was like mostly combat.
Why was he getting attacked by head crabs? Those look like head crabs.
I don't know.
That was weird.
It was. Did you see him riding the little bucket?
I read like a 4-line review of it or something somewhere in the beginning.
Yeah, those do look like head crabs. Right. Anyway, Stray. Fun. So that's enough of the news. Let's move on. I do want to say that this podcast is brought to you by all of you listening. We really appreciate it. all the people that are listening or watching right now. We could really use your help in getting the word out. As we've switched over, we now have a little shift in the audience. Could really use you just telling your friends if they're looking for a chill game podcast and they're in the market for listening to something. Tell them to check out newoverlords.com or look it up on iTunes or Spotify. Stitcher is dead. Or YouTube, and we'll set you up. We'll get them all connected. We'll tell them all about the game stuff in a nice, fun, chill, entertaining way. We hope.
By the way, Stitcher is actually dead, not just like unpopular.
Yeah. They're shutting it down for podcasting.
It has been shut down.
And Stask, thank you. Stask said he already told both his friends. More than.
I guess I got to make some friends so I can tell them.
Yes, all my friends are here right now in the chat room.
There you go.
and Ops Night. This podcast is also brought to you by Alea Est, our gaming community, which you can find at aie-guild.org. Broad community, tons of stuff going on. All the MMOs are having lots of fun right now. Still stuff going on in Diablo. People playing Palia. In fact, Stask was asking me about Palia early this morning. I didn't get to Palia this week, but we're doing stuff in Palia. But SWTOR, Final Fantasy, World of Warcraft, ESO, Guild Wars, SLOTRO, Star Trek Online. Anything you can think of in some of those mainstream MMOs, we're having fun there. Also, shout out to the chat room. They're live here on Twitch. We do this. The schedule's a little bit variable right now, but we're going to try to settle that down. If you want to find out when you can listen to us and how you can join the chat room or where you can find the podcast afterwards, you can find us on all the show's social networks. I've been posting lately to X, formerly known as Twitter, to Mastodon, to Threads, and to Blue Sky. So you can find Max the Gray in all of those places. And then you can get every other feed.
Licorice.
No, not to Garbanzo, that new one that's coming out. It's going to be hot. It's the new hot. Oh, it's dead. They shut it down. And certainly come join us at newoverlords.com/Discord. That's a great place to jump in, chat with us. We're all on there. In fact, even Corley's on there all the time. We would be happy to answer any questions you got and talk to you about what's coming next. All right. That is good. I'm so excited to get to what we're going to talk about next, which is...
It looks like meat's back on our menu, boys.
No way. God. Finally.
Oh, my God. Oh, I kind of like the mango bread.
The main meat on my menu this week, the main meat was PAX West. Definitely want to bring Corley on to talk about PAX West because Corley is a PAX expert. He has worked multiple PAXs in the past. Knows all about PAX. Was not at PAX West, but I wanted to toss it back and forth between us. Show off the video that I did. We'll just sort of have it playing here while I talk about PAX in general. But compare and contrast. So I'll go through a little bit of rundown, but I'll ask you some stuff and see if you've got any questions on this stuff. Let me know too. But it was definitely big. So it was bigger than last year. It was bigger than PAX West last year, and definitely bigger than PAX East, just in terms of the studios that are there, the number of studios and the number of attendees. Not a lot bigger, but it's a little bit bigger than East, and it's a little bit bigger than it was last year. The main weirdness that impacted it this year was it was partially in the same place that it was last year, which is the convention center in downtown Seattle. But it was split between that building and a new building part of the convention center, which they called Summit. So there's the Arch building and there's the Summit building now. The Summit building is really nice, really new, huge, just another big convention center building. And it was split between those. So the expo was split between those. In fact, the expo was split into 3 parts. I had to go to all 3 of the halls. So there was the main hall in Arch, the main hall in Summit. Both of those were mostly PC console video games. And then the board games were all in a separate hall too. And it was huge. It was another big hall. And all of the board game tables were in there, which is nicer than that was last year at West. The board game vendors were in one place and then the tables were like a completely different floor. But
so they put them together at West this
at least the vendors and the board game tables, playing tables, which was nice because then all the vendors are sort of around.
Which is what they have at East now. So
right, but East it's all one hall. Just keep walking and walking.
So can I make one comment? From your videos that you have going here, I mean, it looks dark, really dark in there. And
it is.
PAX, PAX East just. It seems so much brighter. I don't know. Maybe that's just because I'm used to it. But
it is. In fact, I had to play with the video and learn techniques to be able to film in the dark, but then the screens blow it out. All right, we don't need to get into the videography. Yeah. It's actually hard at East for a different reason. What East has is all of the skylights.
Yeah.
So the whole roof of East is sunlight, daylight coming through. So I could be trying I have the opposite problem at East. In fact, I put a filter, a sunlight filter, just not bump it up a notch to filter some of that out, and then try to bump up the contrast and the saturation after it gets washed out. But yeah, it's dark. In fact, it came out a lot better. I worked on it. It came out a lot better than my video last year from PAX West, which was definitely a lot darker and a lot less saturated and less contrast than this year. So I got a little better. People liked it. 2,600 views on the video so far. And to have that in the first week, first few days is a record for any video that we put out. The PAX West video from last year is still our most viewed, almost week to week still. Maybe, probably because in the weeks leading up to it, people were like, hey, I'm going to PAX. I want to look at a video. But we were getting more views on the PAX West video for the past 2 weeks than we were getting on like our podcast videos, which is hilarious. But yeah, so it was a pain between the two halls, but it was still good. And because they had more space, it did feel like it was spread out more, and it didn't feel as crowded. Really? Even though there's just as many people. In fact, the lines to get in to like play the demos were long and annoying.
That's the worst thing about PAX or any of these conventions is, it's basically a line simulator. Well, I guess it's not a simulator. You're actually standing in line, but yeah.
Lines to get in, lines to play the demos for a few of them in particular. Like Five Nights at Freddy, Help Wanted 2 is a VR game and really hot. Their booth had animatronics on it, and they had a person walking around in the Freddy costume, and that line by Sunday afternoon was 2 hours long, and they would cap the line. They would like not let people line up.
Yeah.
I think they only had a couple VR rigs. Yeah, you couldn't even see it because you had to like go like inside, inside the booth where you couldn't see. They had like walls. So I think they only had a couple rigs.
Yeah, but so yeah, Forza's asking about the wizard hats. I think those are actually. They look almost like cones, but maybe not. I guess
they're wizard hats. I think they might have been the Fae
Farm.
Fae Farm. I think they might have been from Fae Farm.
Okay.
Somebody was giving them out. I don't.
And just putting them on your head is the easiest way to carry them
around.
I don't like to take anything. I only took one thing and it's like a challenge coin. It's a metal challenge coin medallion from one of the games that I'll show you here. Otherwise, I didn't take anything from anyone else. But some old friends, developers I had talked to in the past, just saw 30XX go by. Hyde's Haunt and Seek with Morgan and Small Games. They were there. So some of the old devs that I've talked to at previous PAXs, multiple previous PAXs. But the new ones, there's Hyde's Haunt and Seek over there on the side. The new ones, I did get a chance to actually play some games, and that's what I'll sort of run through here. Some of the highlights, a couple of the bigger ones especially that I wanted to mention. One that I did stand in line for, it took me about 10, 15 minutes to get through the line, even though I was really annoyed. I did get through it because I did want to play this, and I got to play it for like 15 minutes. They had, 30 PCs set up. Path of Exile 2. So Path of Exile is still hot. Path of Exile has the kind of like seasons, like Diablo seasons. Path of Exile, for people that aren't familiar, is it's a ARPG. It's a Diablo.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's a Diablo kind of clone, right?
Kinda.
Wasn't it made by like original Diablo people? I don't know.
It was made by an indie studio, and I don't know. I don't know. They could have been some Diablo devs.
I don't know.
Path of
Exile.
Exile.
It was always free too, wasn't it?
Yeah, and it's still free. And Path of Exile 2 is going to be free. It's got microtransactions for, you get some armor sets. They're doing a cool thing with Path of Exile. They're doing some interesting things with Path of Exile 2. It's very evolutionary, so they're not. They're changing a little bit of everything, but they're not like revolutionizing the game. There'll be a new campaign. They're tweaking the skills. They're tweaking the skill tree. They're tweaking the abilities. They're tweaking the graphics. But if you're sort of like looking at it and like how it plays, it's going to feel like Path of Exile in a good way because people like Path of Exile.
It still has that huge skill tree. I'm assuming that's like
it's a constellation. It's not in the demo. They didn't let me. They didn't let you see it, and they didn't let me film the demo. But the stuff that you're seeing in the trailer is true to the demo. It played really smooth. It plays smoother than the current, and it looks better than Path of Exile. So it's good in that way. But yeah, they did not let you see the skill tree, but it is. Well, there's a shot of it. So the skill tree. Let me back it up for just a second, so people can see it.
It's huge.
It's like if you did if you saw like a constellation chart of the sky, and every constellation was shown. That's what their skill tree looks like. What it is every class and every build for every class is just sort of all on the screen at once. So it's not as complicated as it looks. You anchor in one place. You sort of like start in one place where your class is anchored, and then it spreads out from there. So it's not as crazy or as weird, or it's not as broken as it might seem.
I didn't think it was broken. It's a lot of choices that you could get bogged down into.
And then their sort of augment system to abilities today is you put gems into armor and weapons, and you chain the gems together so they build on each other. They're shifting that. You're still going to have the gems, and the gems are still going to chain, but you slot gems into the ability in like an ability tree. So if you say you get the lightning strike ability, well, then you add a gem to it. You can add up to 6 gems to it to enhance the lightning strike ability, however you want. And that's how you customize your, and that's why they have 1,500 passive skills, both in the tree and in the way you're modifying with gems. Anyway, if you like ARPGs, you'll probably like Path of Exiles. If you like Path of Exile, you'll definitely like Path of Exile 2. They're going to keep Path of Exile 1 still alive and still have seasons for it, even after they ship Path of Exile 2. They're also taking all of the cosmetics and everything you bought for Path of Exile 1, and you will be able to use them in Path of Exile 2. I thought that was pretty interesting.
That kind of alleviates some of the burn of losing everything that you had in this other game when you move to a new one.
The keeping both alive is controversial because people are worried it's going to sort of like split the player base and not have enough people like queuing up into the new one, or not people, but we'll see how it works out for them. It's interesting to try. So the people that are really like the seasons of Path of Exile 1 will still be able to do it.
I mean, is there any queuing?
Well, maybe not queuing, but you would be like grouping for like, bigger bosses, or trying to get into like a 4-man group to do dungeons the same way you do for
people in the world
Diablo.
or something.
Yeah, just fewer people in the world. And the way the seasons kind of work is there's a leaderboard, and you're kind of competing against other people to like be top of the leaderboard and get your name on the board and that kind of thing. So that'll be weird for people too if it's you're on the leaderboard, but you're on the Path of Exile leaderboard, but not on the Path of Exile 2 leaderboard. Where are you going to go? What should you focus on? What's going to be the place that people are actually playing? How about this one? I did not play this because the lines were also super long, and I'm not a huge So Ubisoft brought Prince of Persia next. I forgot what it's called. Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown. And everybody loved it. Everybody that played it loved it, and it does look really good. It looks really smooth. If you like those Path of Persia, sort of the side-scrolling, platforming, fighting, it looks really, really good, and it looked really satisfying. You could see these people playing it with the controller and just jumping and leaping and very fluid, and the people either knew what to play or the game was just fluid enough that they were able to just loop, jump and switch. I didn't know how they were doing it. I'm like watching over people's shoulder, and I was filming it too over people's shoulder, and they're like leaping across and grabbing onto a thing and flipping around and wall jumping back and forth, parkouring all over the place, and everybody was doing it. So it must be pretty natural. But I was
that
like,
art style.
I figured if I even tried it, I was going to be just like falling in spike pits over and over and over. Definitely looked like there was hard parts, difficult parts. Some of the mobs looked really hard. You had to like figure out how to attack them. But yeah, the art looks good. The animation looks great. It looks really fluid. And everybody who played it, I kept asking people every time I got in an elevator, hey, what was your favorite thing? Definitely a few people said Prince of Persia, more than a few. It was probably one of the top. So yeah, you a Prince of Persia fan, Corley?
No, I mean,
the old days.
Yeah, I think I messed around with like one of the original ones from the 90s.
Yeah, I think that's when I was the last time I played
on a floppy.
Prince of Persia, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. It's neat.
Yeah, cool for platforming, side scrolling. It's not. I'm more survival MMO adventure RPG. But this is if you're into this kind of game, and maybe especially like on a Steam Deck or on a Switch.
Yeah, this would be perfect for Steam Deck.
It's gonna be cool. So that was also another top one. Ubisoft only brought this. I was a little disappointed. I thought, in fact, I must have misunderstood because I pinged some of my Ubisoft friends, and I thought they were bringing Assassin's Creed, which I would have preferred to try out and play. And I would have even more preferred if they had brought the Avatar game, which is coming out in December. And I would have the most 10 times over preferred if they would have brought anything early, but I'm sure they couldn't for Star Wars Outlaws.
Oh, that's right. Outlaws.
Yeah, they're doing that. But yeah, so
maybe at East.
Ubisoft. That would be great. I would be excited. Fun to see Ubisoft. I like Ubisoft games, and I know Ubisoft's gotten, they've had their problems, but some of their studios are really good, and some of their teams are really good, and I think they've gotten bashed a little bit more than is warranted for what some of their teams are and do and who the people are, like Eduardo Weissman from Ubisoft Toronto, who's done some amazing things with the Far Cry series, which I think is amazing and gets unfairly challenged,
maligned.
Yeah, because it's just another Far Cry game. Well, yeah, but it's amazing, and it's you're playing a movie. So yes, your guns shoot sort of the same as the last game, but you're playing a movie. So that's like if you saw the next James Bond movie and says he's still using the PK. What's his gun? A PK.
Walter PPK.
Walter PPK. Gee, he's still using a Walter PPK in this movie? That's lame. They should upgrade the weapons. Okay. No, that's like his weapon. So just watch the movie. That's what
the
Far
people
Cry
probably would have really hated it because when he started driving the car from like the original.
Right. This one I also didn't get to play, but we all can play it right now. In fact, I meant to try to play it this morning because super long lines. This was the second longest lines in the place, besides that Freddy that Help Wanted 2. There's a Warhammer 40K CRPG game coming out. So this is like a Baldur's Gate style, turn-based squad, move your characters, use your abilities, turn-based. The trailer does not do it justice, but it is playable right now on Steam. I think you might need to buy into an early access if you actually want to play it. But you can at least see videos. You can go on YouTube and see the videos. People seemed excited.
This is an interesting art style too.
Yeah, it's here's what it looks like. So it's going to catch up right now. It's much more top down, further zoomed out than that art style that was zoomed in. You can still zoom in, and that is the art style. But it is well done. But you're much more zoomed out when you're playing it. Just like playing Baldur's Gate, when you're actually when you're not in a cutscene. In Baldur's Gate, you're really kind of zoomed out. It's hard to see what's going on. You can't move the camera on. You can't look up. Like I get into the Underdark and I'd like to look up to the top. I'm supposed to like click on a crystal and I have to like move, I have to run around because I can't look up. Like a dog. Dogs can't look up. Did you know that? That's not true.
Yeah, tell that to my dog when she's looking at the birds in the trees.
That's an apocryphal.
I wish you could actually zoom out more in Baldur's Gate.
Sometimes, yeah. Zoom out more, frame it better, have more control over the camera would be cool.
I remember playing, the original Baldur's Gate and Baldur's Gate 2, and it was, you could see more of the map, the field, or whatever you want to call it.
I bet that the story is what Baldur's Gate is hooking everybody for Baldur's Gate right now. I don't think the story is going to hold a candle to what Baldur's Gate was able to do in this Warhammer CRPG.
I don't know. There's a lot of fanatics about Warhammer.
Yeah, and they do have reputation for a fantastic story.
Yeah, and they have all the
Warhammer does, but this is a sort of a small. This is Owlcat Studios, so it's a smaller studio. They're almost like indie level.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
So, I mean, compared to what Larian has done with Baldur's Gate, I think that might be a tough sell. But the gameplay probably will be good or just as good or maybe even better in like the abilities, especially if you're a Warhammer fan. Be able to line it up because you got like the guns and the weapons and the chain guns and all that kind of fun Warhammer-y stuff. So yeah, that caught my eye certainly as well. This one was a tiny little studio that put this together. It's a action, almost like a Metroidvania platformer side scroller called Biomorph. You can look this up on Steam. In fact, I think they're launching. I think they might even be launching like this week or really soon on at least one of their platforms. Beautiful fluid animation and art style, sort of like cell shaded art style. Really, really well done. The cutscenes, the little story is really well done. And then the gameplay is kind of cool for the sort of the Metroidvania. As soon as you defeat a creature type, you can morph then into that creature type. So you can see the cutscene here where the little morph is scanning it and then becomes it. And then you can play as that, and it's got a different ability set and a different power set. And so you can imagine in a Metroidvania using that as a progression element to go from level to level. And then now you've got more tool set as you go forward and you morph into the next creature type, and like switch creature types depending on the fight and all that kind of thing.
Wait, so do you get like a library of all those creatures in, or are you just that creature you just killed?
No, you get, I think you get a library. I think you get then the ability to pick which one you want to morph in then moving forward for a given situation.
Does Nintendo? Well, it looks like in the video it said something about Nintendo, so maybe it's coming out on Switch.
It is. Here, I got the Steam page here for it. There's a downloadable demo right now. Lucid Dreams is a little studio from the Nordics, so they were really fun to talk to. I think they're from Sweden. They're really cool. It's a relatively small studio. Teaser demo you can play. Add to your wishes. Release date still says it's not yet available on Steam, to be announced.
Yeah,
but I thought that was coming out on a different platform relatively soon. But download the demo, play it. Sounds cool. And yeah, it is just really cool looking. I like to find those games. Similarly, the next one I found and I did play for a little while, it sort of sucked me in. It was a game, not even early access yet. It's in development, but relatively playable. That's a game called First Dwarf. It's a single player game. It's a combination, almost like kind of city builder, and with a little bit of tower defense, because you're building your little city. You got a little robot, this dwarf robot, and you go and you mine some rocks. Now you got some rocks. You build the main building, and then you mine some more rocks and you cut down some trees and you put a mineral extractor on the ore node, and you have to then connect it and chain it to your main building, which has the workshop. And then there's 3 you sort of like morph into, or I think you like take over. There's like sort of like the robot. There's the dwarf that I think is better at fighting than resource extraction. And there's the dragon that then can like fly around. And they're each characters because they each talk. Well, the robot doesn't, but the dwarf and the dragon talk while you're doing things, and they're like telling you what to do and where to go. But then it's tower defense too, because then these creatures spawn, and they've got like these little nodes that they spawn from, and you can set up towers to defend your little town that you're building. And what it sounds like is the objective is you need to conquer this floating island and build your town up enough so that the rest of the dwarves can migrate there, and then you move on to the next one. So they've only built one so far, and then it's not to the end where the dwarves come and migrate there. So that's where they're going to be working on for the next year, it sounds like. But very playable, and I liked it, and I got into it, and I was playing it for a while there.
Yeah, that looks really interesting.
The animation is fluid. It feels good when you're chopping down the trees and chopping down rocks, and it's a little bit of RPG abilities. You like build up you go to the workshop and you build up an ability to be able to jump higher. So now your robot can jump up a cliff and get to another place where more enemies are spawning. So a lot of cool stuff like that. And then there's a little bit of a story that's getting unlocked too. You're like going, oh, what is that giant tower in the distance? You have to go find out what it means. And so cool. Yeah. Tower defense, little bit of a survival feel. And that hooked me too. And we should talk about survival at the end of the show today, because that's what I want you back for, Corley, is to talk about survival. 2 more, just to wrap it up. This one, hey, did you guys ever? This was a web comic that had a big moment, but it still goes on today. But it was big in the early 2000s. It was called Girl Genius. Agatha Heterodyne, I think was her name. Heterodyne, Adventures in Heterodyne Castle. Girl Genius was the name of the webcomic. I loved the webcomic, but I did it in the early 2000s or whatever, was into it for a couple years and then sort of forgot about it. So I was walking around the show floor and I saw this game and I'm like, hey.
Oh man, yeah.
Blast from the past. And playing it, all of the art of the original webcomic is very well represented, and like the style of humor and there was no voices obviously to the webcomic, but how you would expect it to sound and how the interplay between the characters would be seemed fun and cool. It's very small.
It looks neat. I like the art, the art style.
Yeah. Real. I mean, it's a small indie studio, so it is a little clunkier to play than some other games, not as fluid, and you got to like dodge over the spikes, and it was a little hard to do. But they're early in development and they're working on it. But it's like a platformer puzzle. You're trying to figure out how to get through the castle, and this was a big part of the webcomic was always the castle itself is alive, and Agatha, the main character, is sort of like an engineer. So her adventures were always like building things or figuring out how to get through and like defeat and shut down the bad things that were going on and fix the good things and defeat the bad guy who kept trying to corrupt everything and that kind of stuff. And that's what you're doing in the game, which makes a ton of sense.
That's what it looks like you're doing. Like she's building different tools to get past different puzzles.
Yep. It's got the big wrench and uses it to ratchet open a thing and press this button, but this button. And then you got a little robot that you can set. You know how you do like the mouse droid quests in SWTOR, where the mouse droid needs to go through the hole and then do a thing. There's a version of that there. So you get like with a little droid friend and you send it into another room to like press a button and open a door.
It looks like a chicken.
Yeah.
Yeah. It looks like you throw chickens.
Yeah.
the chicken bot. And then the last one is actually an older game that's been around for a while. It's a first-person tower defense with up to 4 players. It's called Dungeon Defenders. And there's Dungeon Defenders 2. It's been around for a long time. Free to play, and then I think you can like pay to like unlock a new, character type or a new class type and that kind of stuff. But I talked to one of the main devs for quite a while at a side event, and then they're on the show floor. So it seems like a very cool team, and that's why I wanted to include it. They're continuing to work on it. They're continuing to build it out, bring it to new platforms, bring it to new markets. They're going global. Fun little tower defense game to play too. So in the way it's tower defense, when you start the round, it shows you the path that the enemies are going to take. They're like spawning out the doors at the end, and it shows you where they're going to run. You're with a group of maybe 3 other players also. So you each might like take a lane and use your abilities to be knocking down that lane. And you can do it with random players, or you can do it with your friends. I'm sure it's much better with friends.
Yeah,
is there an AI friends. Version?
It's looked like you could play it solo if you needed to or wanted to. You're just maybe less enemies and you're just controlling all the lanes.
It looks a lot like Orcs Must Die, which is kind of the same thing. You build traps and then you have to stop the orcs from pathing to the exit.
It's very actiony, which is cool. So not tower defense like turn-based or like set it up and let it run. Mm-hmm. It's very actiony defense.
Yeah, that's the way Orcs Must Die was. You had a character, you ran around, and you had to set the traps. And as you killed orcs, you got more money, so you could put more traps up.
Yeah,
stuff like that. So.
Yeah, that's cool. So yeah. So that's it. That's my PAX roundup. As I said, if you watch that video, you'll see a bunch of things go by, and I took a look at most of it. There was another game called Another Crab's Treasure that's early in development, but looks really clever and cool. You're just like a little hermit crab in the bottom of the ocean. You like pick up a piece of garbage, like a tin can, and then you like wear it, and it becomes your shell. And then you have to like fight other crabs that are like trying to get your stuff. So good.
And I also was looking at Fae Farm.
Fae Farm, yeah, I didn't get a chance to dig into Fae Farm. They were big there. They had like, in fact, I think it's at the beginning of the video.
Yeah.
They had like a big, huge area.
There's a thing right at there's a thing.
Big, huge banner, yeah.
Banner right there.
Triple banner.
Yeah, all the lanyards, they paid for all the lanyards as well. Yeah. So all the lanyards were Fae Farm. And then they had like here it is. There's the farm. This whole area was like their farm, and you like go in there and you can play the game. But it's like a cozy adventure kind of game that's coming out pretty soon. In fact, I think it's launching this week or next week too.
Tomorrow.
So it's an adventure. It's not like Stardew Valley or something like that.
It looks like it's you make a farm, but you can have an adventure too. So you're growing things, and you're doing animal husbandry.
Farming the animals. Don't tell Baldur's Gate that.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's a lot like Baldur's Gate.
Well, I think it's a lot like Paleo. That's what it made me think of.
Yeah, it is sounding a little bit like Paleo
because it's a lot of chopping down trees. I saw in the trailer. But yeah, you can pre-order up until midnight tonight Pacific time because it's coming out tomorrow.
Cool, pre-order now. Get it while you can.
To get like a bundle that you have no idea whether you want or not.
Oh, here's
all those are like.
Here's the help one at Five Nights at Freddy's.
So people actually had Steam Decks there to.
A lot of the studios now are using Steam Decks to bring their demos on.
That's right. They did that a little bit at PAX East.
Yeah, which I think is a great idea. That. Some of them you play directly on the Steam Deck, like the Dungeon Defenders. Some of them like have a Steam Deck like behind a monitor and keyboard. And I used to do this when I was doing tech demos. I'd use the Intel NUCs, which Intel is actually discontinuing. But I used to use the Intel NUCs. We'd load up demos on them, and I'd have a stack of them. I'd have like 6 Intel NUCs that we'd bring. Steam Deck self-contained PC unit, load up your demos, get it all set before you go, and then just bring them and plug them into a monitor. That's a great idea.
Yeah.
Larian was there, of course, but it was just...
Is it the same booth they've had the last 3 years of PAX East?
Yeah, except they brought a Mind Flayer. So they had the two cosplayers.
They had one before, too.
Oh, did they?
Well, I don't know if they had a guy dressed as one. They had one standing up.
So they had the live guy, and then they had Lizelle and Astarion.
Yeah, and now you know who, like you said in your.
And I noticed
post.
they had some really muscly guys too.
Oh, that's Tekken. I'll go to that in just a second.
Oh, Tekken.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah.
So Lizelle and Astarion, who were there last year too at PAX, they were at East, and I think they might even been at West last year. I thought they were cool. Cosplay NPCs. But yeah, now I know who they are. And they were in character now that I know what the characters are too. Lizelle always had a scowl on her face, and she would put her, when you took you'd line up to get your picture taken with them. Look, she's scowling at me. And then when you get your line up to get your picture taken, she'd pull her daggers out and put your daggers up to your throat. But Astarion was always more cool and casual, and always had a smile on his face. There.
I don't know. It would be weird playing a character that.
Yes, that everybody's banged. Absolutely, I totally thought of that. And people were cosplaying. There was a really good cosplay of what's the demon woman character, another main character.
Shadowheart?
No, not Shadowheart. The red one.
The one that starts with a K.
Karlach.
Yeah, there you go.
A very good Karlach cosplay. But yeah,
nice.
I would be uncomfortable cosplaying a character that everybody has dated.
Yeah. Yeah.
How weird and creepy. And what do you say? I can hey, I really like your character. I really like your character. If you know what I mean. That freaked me out.
Yeah, that would be weird.
I did not want to talk to them as a result.
Can I have my photo with you? And here's the pose I want.
It's not appropriate. Inappropriate. That's not. They need guards. Oh, there was one other. Oh, here's the Tekken. These guys. So they'll show up. These guys are real. That's not a costume.
I was gonna say that's real, isn't it?
Yeah.
Those guys were so ripped. I mean, obviously, human growth hormone going on there. It's not.
You
healthy
don't
in the
know
long
that.
term. No, that's impossible without HGH. That's impossible. That is gear. Those. I mean, it looked. I've never seen it in person until this. Somebody who looks like that. And it did look weird. It looked like a costume. It looked like fake skin. Just when you walked up near them.
Maybe it was.
No, it wasn't.
Okay.
Because I mean, you could tell it wasn't. But what happens when you do HGH is also your muscles in your skin get a little more rounded and bubbly, and so it does make it look really weird. But all the Tekken cosplayers were these are the pros, obviously. Very good. And there were more than this. There was about 8 of them. There was the dude with the cat head, and there was, so it was pretty amazing what they did. But yeah, those guys were freaks of nature. But you got it. If you got it, this is, very, very dangerous capybaras, I think is what the name of the game is. It's
that was at East,
survivor.
Wasn't it?
Yeah. All right, we got to move on. We're going to be here all night, and my raid leader is going to be pissed.
Oh, whatever.
Because I got another big thing to talk about anyway, too, which is Starfield. Starfield. So neither of you have played Starfield yet, have you? You're denying the hype.
You are correct, sir.
It's not that I don't want to. The game's what, $70?
It is $70
for the regular version.
For the regular version, and it just came out. It's only been out. Officially released yesterday, so it's early access few days. But it is good. It is everything I had hoped it would be.
Did you ever play the privateer games?
Yeah,
or anything like that?
a little bit way back in the day.
Is it? So yeah, I never finished Privateer, but that was a game that I really liked.
It's more like Fallout, Skyrim with space and planets and adventure. It's more like that. So like the Fallout, even like Fallout 76, where you would build a base, there's base building.
Yeah.
But you get it.
There's base building?
Yeah. Yeah. You build outposts, and you can build multiple outposts on multiple planets. And then you can set up like automated transport links between your outposts so you can get raw materials to a manufacturing hub. And that's just a tiny slice. Then there's your ship.
It sounded like Satisfactory or something like that.
Well, the outposts get pretty big, and you put like, you do like mining at the outpost, and you move the materials around. So it's not full Satisfactory, but a bunch of that going on. Then there's the ships, and there's ship building. So you unlock additional modules, and you can build a big cargo ship that's got a bunch of cargo space. And you snap modules together to build the ships, and then it changes what the inside of the ship is too. And your ship is sort of a mobile base, but your ship is also ship combat. So what I'm showing here is my recordings of me doing stuff, and I'm about to get into a fight with some spacers. So spacers are like kind of piratey, the piratey faction. And then there are actual pirate factions as well. But these spacers were messing with these colonists. So this is a little side thing. There are these colonists on this planet. I randomly was like going in through a system. I get a broadcast, you'd like static over the speaker. We need help. If you can, come visit, my farm on this planet. And then it shows up in your quest log. You can ignore it. Never have to do it. But I was like, distress signal. I will go check it out. So I went down to the planet. And I talked to the dude on his farm, and he's like, it's 4 families that have sort of been staked out here. These spacers have now knocked out our satellites and are like raiding our bases now. I have no communication with the other families. Can you help us out? So, go fix the satellites. You go fix satellites. They're defended by spacers. We got to blow up the spacers. I like the space combat.
It looks neat, but it's not expanse space combat. So I don't know.
It's not relativistic space combat. No, it is not.
Yeah, it looks cool though.
So there's laser, ballistics, and missiles is what you're looking at here. So you lock on, and then you can fire a missile once it locks on. You target a ship, and you get a little bit of aim assist then on your lasers and your ballistics. But it's an RPG. So you upgrade your weapons, and you upgrade your abilities and your ability to use the weapons, and you upgrade your skills. And then after you blow the ships up, then you go over and you loot them.
Okay, so you can like salvage them. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so here I'm going to loot this shipwreck. You can, once you get good and get your skills up a little bit, you can move into like what was the Fallout system where it
that was
freezes, and then you can do targeting.
What was it called? I got it. I know what you're talking about.
Whatever the bullet time freeze frame is, there's a version of that for the ship fighting. So you can like target target the engines. So then
if you don't blow them all up.
If you don't blow up the ship and you just knock out the engines and your ability is high enough, then you can dock to it. And then you have to use guns to fight the pirates that are still on the ship. And if you clear it all out, you can take the ship. You can own it. So you take it over, and then you can fly it back to your base. So you could sell it, you can use it, but you have to have the skills to pilot it. If it's a bigger ship than yours, you have to.
You're speaking my language here. I might have to actually buy it sooner than later now. Then,
but then it's also, just like a Skyrim game, very narrative driven too. There's a main narrative story, which is the stuff that you see in the trailers, which is Constellation is sort of like this science group that goes after discovery of our artifacts out in space, and they're tracking down a couple of these weird alien. I mean, this is not set too far in the future, and there's not a bunch of aliens around. This is like 2300. It's very much like NASA feel, but in the future. But there are these like alien artifacts that people are starting to uncover. That's a big part of the main story.
A little bit like Mass Effect.
Yeah.
The first Mass Effect. But yeah,
except without all the
Yeah.
before it gets into like all the races and that kind of thing.
I don't know. I might have to pick it up when I have time to actually. I got to finish Baldur's Gate 3.
So here's
and the stuff in No Man's Sky.
When you take screenshots, they become your loading screens. I thought that was kind of cool. That's one of my
that is cool.
The game is criticized a lot right now by people that are looking for a hot take. In that there are loading screens, like same as in Skyrim. When you go into a building, there's it's like 1 second loading screen, and it's a loading screen to get down to the surface of a planet and get back into space. It is not free fly.
It's not like No Man's Sky.
It's not like No Man's Sky. So, and it's not like Star Citizen in the way Star Citizen does it. So people are like, it's not a space game. It's arcade garbage.
I mean, I don't. I haven't followed any news on the game, mainly because I'm to the point where I don't care what other people think about it. If I want to play it, I'm going to play it.
Right, which is good because there is a lot of noise about the game.
Yeah.
IGN US gave it a 7 out of 10, where IGN, every other region of IGN, the other 4 IGNs gave it a 10 out of 10. That's a low score. Standout on the Metacritic. I think it's like 89, 88 on Metacritic.
Might have a controversial view, but I think IGN's overrated anyways, but that's...
I think a lot of people are doubling down on that opinion right now after them throwing a 7.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah. And it's a particular reviewer, and people are like, this guy gave this game and this game an 8 and a 9, whatever, just like some crappy game, and gave this a 7. Yeah.
Reviews are, if you're reviewing a game on how well you like it, it's a lot of opinion and a lot of, it's subjective. If you're reviewing it on its technical merits. If you're a professional
reviewer, then you still need to be somewhat objective,
yeah.
Like I would give Elden Ring a 9 out of 10. But I refunded it after 45 minutes, and it's not a game for me.
Never considered buying it.
Because it's not my kind of game, and it's not a game, and I don't think it's a game for a lot of people. But is it well designed and well made for what it is? Yeah.
I mean, it looked neat. Yeah.
People are also like digging up every possible glitch and bug that they can find because it's fun to post those on the web. It's actually kind of hard to find them compared to other Bethesda games, which is kind of fun. So yeah, it's got me. It's got me hooked. It is a single player game. So as sort of Stask is asking there in the chat room. Yeah, single player. You can pause it, which there's a place for that. I didn't used to like that kind of game. I only liked MMOs. And I'm not in this, I'm not like no-lifing this game because it's if it was an MMO, I would be no-lifing because you got to be leveling up. You got to get other things. You get, a leaderboard. But it's not, and I'm glad. So I did play it on my Steam Deck when I was on the road, but I didn't play it a lot. And I played it on my laptop, which I preferred than playing it on the Steam Deck because it's small on the Steam Deck. And this game really deserves a big screen, high quality.
Yeah, I bet.
It's locked to 30 frames a second, but it deserves the at least the 2K, which is what I play it at, if not a 4K high-end graphics card, so you can have all the all the textures and everything too.
And that's another reason why I haven't bought it yet. Because I don't have a high-end graphics card right now.
So I'll keep clipping this, and I'm sure we're going to talk about it the next few weeks as well as I'm going through it. I'm loving it and having a great time with it. So, and it's a little bit slow to get into, and this is something that people criticize as well. And people will say it takes 10 hours to get into it. It might take 10 hours to get into all of the systems, like till you're building multiple bases and chaining them together, until you're like building ships. But it does not take 10 hours to get into the game. Yes, you start as like a grunt miner down in a mining pit, but within the first 15 minutes, you undercover,
flying.
uncover an artifact and meet Constellation, and somebody gives you a ship and says, "Go fly to the main Constellation base."
Oh, there you go. And like Stas says, it looks a lot like Elite Dangerous. And the one reason I haven't really played Elite Dangerous is because that's multiplayer, and you might have to deal with people who want to take your stuff, and I don't want to deal with that. So
there are different perks which add flavor to your character during character creation. You can pick these different perks, and you can actually unlock them later too.
Looks like an assault cannon.
Yeah, it kind of was. I just got that this morning, I think, and didn't get a chance to use it yet. There's more pirates, but so where was I going with that? It's I don't know what I was going to say. It's very cool.
Well, I mean,
I'm having a very good time.
So this is a good comment. Xander, the gamer, says he played it for a few hours, but he's still so into Baldur's Gate 3, he might have to come back later and play it.
Yeah,
he was bored while he was playing it. And I'm the same way. It's sort of like if I'm really into a game, it's hard for me to even think about playing another game.
Yes. And if you're deep into the Baldur's Gate story and it's really hooked you, then I could see that being the case. This has got my attention. I'm like almost done with Act 1 of Baldur's Gate, so I'm still early in Baldur's Gate, and maybe Act 2 really heats up. This is way more interesting to me than Baldur's Gate.
What's your favorite thing about Starfield? Is it the space combat?
It's the space, and it's the adventure,
the sort of setting.
Yeah,
the NASA grunge.
Yeah,
Discovery.
NASA punk. I like the space combat, even though the space combat is it's relatively lightweight. It's not Elite Dangerous. It's not Star Citizen space combat, but it is good. I like it. I had fun with it, and I want to like unlock skills and get better. I like the idea of the base building. I like the story that it's trying to tell, and I really like the aesthetic. Yeah, the NASA punk is what they coined the phrase.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The whole base building thing makes me think of No Man's Sky, because you build outposts on planets and then you go back to them when which I don't do a whole bunch of that in No Man's Sky either. But
the purists of each, like the purists in Star Citizen, will say it's not as enough of a simulator. The purists for No Man's Sky will say it's the base building isn't as flexible, and there's the exploration of the planets isn't as pervasive as you can get in No Man's Sky. You'll see those kind of reviews pop up, but they're different games. This is a Bethesda RPG.
If I wanted a space simulation, I'd go play Kerbal Space Program.
Right, that's actual space. That's an actual simulator. Right, exactly.
That's a good game too, though.
But yeah, so to see there, I was doing the targeting. I targeted the engines. I'm not good enough yet to not.
Is it BATS?
The BAT system?
Is that what it's called?
Maybe that was it.
Yeah, I don't remember, but from Fallout, yeah.
But I'm already. I mean, I was hooked on the first little planet I went to, and they told me to mine a rock. Like the very first thing you do, 3 minutes into the game is, here's your laser cutter, go mine that rock. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna mine a rock. So I like that kind of stuff. I was totally into that. A lot of scanning of creatures, and once you scan them enough, well, like you scan the plants enough, and you got to scan like multiple of them to unlock them, and then you can grow them in your habitats. You can assign characters.
No Man's Sky right there. So
you can assign characters to run your habitats, and staff them with people. That then will keep them running and keep the manufacturing going when you're not there. If you don't, like here, if you're in space and you want to point a direction, you turn on your scanner, you can say, I want to fly off to that star. You can do that. There is, though, a lot of quick travel, huge amount of quick travel. In fact, people that didn't realize you could travel without doing the quick travel, if you open the map or you open a quest, it'll say land, like you're just in space, or you're on a planet. You say, go land back at the Constellation base. You can skip space altogether, and people were criticizing that. You don't have to. You can go walk over to your spaceship, climb in it, go up into space, point in the direction you want to go. There's a light speed jump to get in between systems. But then there's also the load screen to get back down to the planet. But it's, you don't have to do all of the quick travel. So yeah. And I liked that. I liked just walking over to my ship. Some really good characters. Also, Baldur's Gate. All the characters aren't trying to bang me. So I kind of appreciate that. But there is romance. I don't think it's going to be Baldur's Gate level by any means. But there are characters that, just only a few that you can develop a relationship. In fact, I already had a flirt option with one of them. Sarah, the main character, that's been in the cutscenes. So yeah, it is what it is. And I'm having a good time with it. But is not what I played the most of on my trip. What I played the most of on my trip on the Steam Deck, the whole way there on all 3 plane rides, because I went to Seattle, then I went from Seattle to San Francisco, and then went to San Francisco back home. I played No Man's Sky. And I played the expedition for No Man's Sky, but I mostly just screwed around in the expedition. So Corley, you're playing No Man's Sky, and you played some of the expedition already. So what do you think so far? Where are you at in the expedition?
I've only finished the first phase, the first part. I'm working on the second one. Finding storm crystals is killing me. Because you know what the rocks look like.
Yeah.
When when there's not a storm going on, so I'm looking for those, and I can't find them.
Yeah, you have to.
Pain in the butt.
But I am getting everything into the planet, and the planet has to have the weather type needs to be violent.
Yeah. Wow.
So when you scan the planets, then click on your catalog, or when you go to the systems that are like the rendezvous systems, go to Discovery, click in. You have to click into the planet, each of the planets, and then the weather type needs to be violent.
I haven't found any violent planets yet. Yeah, I haven't found any violent planets yet. So it's, but I mean it's fun. I mean, so this one it definitely feels not as rushed. Like it's not stuff that you can complete, like land on a planet, boom, you're done with that. Look at this thing, you're done with that. You actually have to search. Like you were saying, you haven't got the blood temperature one or whatever yet for finding a creature that has the right blood temperature, and you need to learn words from the different races. Which I mean, and that's what it is. It's called Voyagers, so they want you to explore.
Exactly.
So
it's a discovery. It's a voyage of discovery.
Why do you have so many refiners in your freighter?
Because
I'm watching the video you're playing
on my this is the expedition one too. No, my main save I've got like 16. Why do you not? If you're gonna refine, say you're gonna refine like the goo into nanites.
Yeah.
You split that up into 16 stacks and you put it in each of the refiners because it's like 4 minutes for a full stack.
I'm not in that much of a hurry, so I guess it doesn't matter.
But it's 4 steps of refining, so it's still.
Yeah, no, I know, and it's
that's what I do.
I've never put that much work into trying to make money in the game.
My main save,
especially now, because I mean it comes so easy. It seems so.
And I've got like 10 of the mission stations. You're sending out your frigate stations.
The fleet command thing, whatever it is. Yeah. I think I have like 3 on mine.
You need at least 5. Anyway. So for people that aren't familiar, what we're saying with Expedition in No Man's Sky, it's like a challenge mode or a season or a battle pass kind of thing. Yep. This is their 11th one, and they last a couple months. This is going to last like 2 months, I think. And it gives you, in fact, I'll go back to the other page because it gives you 5 tiers of objectives.
And each one has what? I think it's like 8 things, and you do it. 8. There's locations that you have to go to.
And they're all like go to a location or shoot 5 pirates, and this one's all about what you're going to discover. Discover and climb a mountain that's 625 units high. Scan a creature that's got blood pH of 60.
Yeah. And the important thing to remember with these expeditions is that, that if you come across an objective, you're like, well, how do I do this? I don't have that blueprint. it's probably a reward from a previous milestone.
Yes.
And you just need to finish that. So, like, I was like looking at it, and you have to build a wonder or something. And I'm like, what the heck? And I'm like, hold on. So I look back, and it's like,
it's a reward.
A reward for something. One of the other ones.
Back up. Oh.
It's actually, I think it's a reward for getting storm crystals. So I gotta get the storm crystals. But yeah, it's fun. I mean, and you are playing online with other people, but you don't have to interact with them. You don't have to do anything with them, which is
right. There actually
like,
is PvP, but everybody turns
turn
it
on. Yeah.
No, it's on by default in every new save.
Yeah, that's
first thing. Go into your networking and turn it off.
But I mean, nobody does anything.
There's
a
billion.
See that?
There's like 1 trillion systems in the game.
Yeah.
And there's you do the math. I typically never see another player in the expedition. You will because everybody starts on the same planet.
Around. Yep, and everybody's going the same direction. Everybody's going to the same objective.
There's like 4 more. What do they call them? The expedition locations. That everybody's rendezvous. There's 4, and everybody's going to those.
I kind of wish that they would not let you put the communication things down and all that stuff, because it's a pain in the butt sometimes. But anyways, I like the game because it's, it gives you can explore it. Although there are times where it's like, all right, yeah.
Well, these are going to be hard. Like, this is one of the harder ones because
because you have to grow stuff for this one too. Yeah, that's right.
You have to grow stuff. You have to. I have not found. And I've scanned tons of creatures, and I found like 60 degrees Celsius blood temperature. So I was on a boiling hot planet, and I found one. It was like, oh, new record, 45 degrees. New record, 57 degrees. Now you're done. Go find another planet.
There was a hot fix. There was actually a hot fix today
for the pH.
Was that pH?
Yeah,
okay, I knew
pH
it was one of the
triggering.
animal scanning ones. Yeah. Okay. And I'm running the experimental branch anyways, so because that's what I do.
How do you run that?
So the experimental branch, actually, if you go into the community page on Steam, under discussions, there's a pinned one, and basically what you do, they have a code. And you put that in on the beta page under the properties of the game.
Okay.
And it loads the experimental version. And if it's, so they push the stuff to that first, obviously, any of the fixes. And if it starts messing up and it doesn't work, all you have to do is remove that code, take yourself out of the beta, and it reverts back to the normal game. Okay. It's pretty seamless.
Cool.
Yeah. Yeah. But it's the first discussion thread on there, and that's where they post the notes. But it's like it's experimental, but instead of the first E being an E, it's a 3.
Okay.
And that's all lowercase, and and then it'll download the patch or the updates. And so.
Last thing I'll say about No Man's Sky, because somebody was asking specifically, is it new player friendly, and how do you get started? The expeditions are a great way to get started.
Especially this one.
They start you with a freighter. They start you on a freighter. So you have a ship, you have a freighter. They start you on the freighter, and you don't have to worry about, getting a freighter or what that is. And then because there's all the milestones, and it's just like telling you what to do next and giving you a whole bunch of unlocks, and it gives you a whole bunch of credits, and it gives you a whole bunch of nanites, which is another currency in the game. If you just follow along, and you'll have to look stuff on the wiki still, but you sort of follow along, you'll learn a whole bunch of the systems without having to do the game from scratch. The game from scratch is still pretty new player friendly too, I would say. In fact,
since some of the latest updates, I mean, the new player tutorial when you first start the game is a lot better than it used to be. But even if you do this expedition, once the expedition is over with, it converts to a regular save. So then you can do all the regular quests, all the story and stuff like that. And you've already got, your multi-tools already all kitted out with everything. All this, your ship has as much space as you want.
You have all the portal glyphs unlocked, and
Did you go onto the anomaly and check the vendor for the rewards from previous expeditions and Twitch stuff?
I did not.
Have-
I always play it
So
the
I
first time
did
through
that.
without it.
Yeah. So I did that. I was like, I'm gonna go see, what I can get.
Get your golden vector.
And it looks like you actually have to pay nanites to get the ships and stuff that you've unlocked from either Twitch rewards or whatever. And I'm wondering if that's just for the expeditions
expedition.
too.
I think it
So
is.
you don't, because it didn't used to be that way. You could get it like, all the other expeditions. I got the golden vector or whatever, and yeah,
That's a good idea because it's a little bit of a cheat to go and get your unlocks.
It is.
Your Twitch unlocks or your previous expedition rewards.
Yep.
Because you'll go get an S-class ship and you'll go get an S-class multi-tool. So like this ship that I'm flying, it's a C-class corrupted Sentinel ship.
Yeah, but they're still cool.
That's what I did. That's what I did this past week when I was playing, like in the hotel room once in a while and on
So
the
you
planes.
went and found one.
I went and found 4, and they're all frickin' C-class. I finally got a B-class multi-tool out of one of the harmonic camps, but 4 of them, and they're all C-class.
I haven't even looked for any harmonic camps yet. So
they're hard to get because you need to. Yeah. They're hard to get. We don't need to get into how that's. Yeah. There's 7 years of content. You buy this game once.
There's
living ships that are organic. You can. That was like 4 years ago. An update. You can do that on your full unlock. There's all the new stuff. Big new update that came out recently.
It's crazy how much stuff, and everybody's like, how are you making money on this game?
There's no cash out. There's no way to pay them money. And I've been playing this game for 7 years now and love it. And I can't give them money.
I pre-ordered it before it came out.
Yeah.
And it's definitely worth it with as much stuff they've been doing it.
Yeah.
So I wonder what their growth has been.
Big, good.
People
just new
buying
boxes,
it. Yeah.
just people.
Yeah.
And they keep going to new platforms. They just released it on Switch this past year.
Yeah. And they also they have other games too.
Yeah.
They do have some other games. They're small, like platformer games or stuff like that. Nothing like this. But yeah. I just remember all the hate this game got when it came out, and it's still
and it really
still irritates me.
Yeah.
It now you can't, if somebody talks bad about them, those people get jumped on.
Yeah.
By all the people who play the game. So yeah, it's definitely fun. It's a good diversion. If you can't think of anything else to do, jump in No Man's Sky, fly around a little bit. I mean, there's all kinds of space combat now, which didn't used to be in the game. You can ground combat because you got, you can kill the Sentinels and send big walkers after you and stuff. So yeah,
its main conceit is it's procedurally generated planets and creatures and ships. The aesthetic gets a little repetitive, but it's nearly infinite variation, and it's really cool in that way. The tech behind the way they build the planets, and it is trillions of planets. They're just the seeds in the universe. But you can any person. It's been going for 7 years. Any person, very easy to just like fly off in a direction and fly planets that no one has ever seen and get planets that no one's ever seen before.
Yeah.
All right, Seema, what is going on here? Tell me about Total Galactic War. Were you in? You weren't. Oh, you were gone. You were gone for the.
Neither one of you guys were there.
Well, we were there for the start. So I got.
You weren't there for this.
No, we weren't here for this. This is the.
No, I was
celebration.
Yeah.
I was tracking your progress. Really happy at how well it was going.
Yeah. So for people that aren't familiar with Total Galactic War, explain that, if you can.
Who? Seema. Okay.
Oh, well, if I can. Well, we've done it a few times in the past, but basically, Total Galactic War is a way for your guild to work together to make progress against conquering all the planets in the Star Wars The Old Republic galaxy.
Yeah, Star Wars The Old Republic. Yeah. I don't know. I didn't even know if we said the game. I'm showing it on the screen, but we're in Star Wars The Old Republic now.
So, and basically what you do, you have to build up more points that get applied to the planet that you're invading than any other guild to win that planet. And so we were invading Mekshah this week. And me personally, since I knew I was going to be gone for most of the week, I just got as many points as I could, which I did by starting a new character, because you get points for, getting a level. You get points for just about everything you do in the game.
Yep.
And so I leveled that one as far as I could get. And then we have these personal requisition tokens that have accumulated over time that we've gotten from other efforts. And so I had about 10 or 12 characters pop one of those. And then that was
many? Wow.
Yeah, I saw you do that. And I mean, Corley said, use them if you got them, but I think he meant like at the end of the week.
I knew I wasn't going to get a chance to at the end of the week.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't home in time. But I don't think, as it turns out, you never know.
It was a lot.
And it was a lot, but also
pushed us
it was
in the lead. Yeah.
Yeah, and we started out in the lead, and maybe that's...
We demoralized our enemies.
Yeah, we demoralized.
We have broken them all.
In any event, throughout the week, because I was kind of monitoring it from afar, we, just by reading Discord chat, I could see that we were widening the gap. And
yes, mind the gap.
Yeah, once we got to about 10 million, it stayed right around that the whole time.
Yeah.
There was a lot of GSF going on. I got vote kicked from a GSF. That was interesting.
Really?
Yeah, because I was in a bomber in I think it was a death match. And
that's dumb.
I don't know if I got vote. It says I got vote kicked. I don't know. You get the same thing if you get the.
As soon as you time out because you haven't shot anybody, because you won't in a bomber. You're there for support.
Yeah.
As soon as it times out, then somebody can vote to kick, and people just will, not even looking that it's a bomber or what it was doing. So it was probably just a knee-jerk reaction by somebody. It was fun.
Yeah, I'm sure it was. I'm not worried about it. And Stask yelled at him after I got vote kicked.
Good.
That was because we were in a match together. And they won, which, maybe I shouldn't have been in there if they won after I left, but
no, you want a bomber or two, especially for the repairs.
Yeah, it was fine. I'm not worried about it. So, once we hit the 10 million points.
I'm writing a strongly worded letter. What are you talking about?
And actually on Monday night, I think, late, I popped some of those tokens on some of my tunes that I hadn't played over the week. So just to give us a little bit more hope,
You did it on Monday night? Just in case they were doing the same? Yeah.
Yeah, in case they were going to do the same, but they didn't. So that's fine though. I mean, I also needed some bank space because I had a whole tab of those things.
I mean, I have to say, this is the only Total Galactic War picture that I haven't been in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It must be same for you, Max.
Yeah. Yeah. The picture, the celebration on the Tuesday night.
Yeah.
And in fact, I was online. I was online right before this started. I probably could have jumped in for the picture.
Yeah, because you had to change the hotel room. Kill bank for us. But I mean, we had a lot of people helping out. It was nice.
Yeah. I mean, again,
we'd never seen that. I'd never seen that guild on the list before, so I don't know if they were new or just.
But they did great. I mean, they did a good job. I mean, the gap was big, but they still put a lot of points out there. So I always feel bad when a guild doesn't.
Yeah.
When we beat another guild, but that's sort of the name of the game.
It definitely wasn't the whole Mandalorian one that we had that one time where it was down to the wire.
Yeah.
We ended up beating them, but so we got Mech Shaw now, and so now you can be conquerors of the Mech Shack.
Yes.
And this was out in front of Slugfall Cantina. So
the picture.
And,
yep.
Yep.
Oh, I'm Mech Shack. I'm gonna have to take a picture of the screenshot of the placard that comes up that says "Conquered by Alei Octa Est."
Yeah,
which is always cool. And this is on the Republic side too, which is
we did it. Yeah, that was a change too. We had some people that said, "Hey, let's do it on Republic side." So we did it on a Republic side this time, and normally we do it on an Imp because we have more characters and more. It seems like we have more people that play that, but it was the same. We had the same amount of participation that we have every other time. So maybe next
and tons of contribution, even with even with Seema and I offline too.
Yeah.
Not that we're carrying anything by any means. I don't mean to make it sound like that, but still,
mean, points are points. So
I've put up multiple millions before, and I only did 500,000 or 3/4
Yeah, we did
million,
have
so-
one person in the guild who just. It's like they got up in the morning and did PvP until they went to bed at night.
Strike
But,
Zone? Didn't Strike Zone
Strike
have,
Zone,
like, 5?
Roz,
Yeah.
Strike Zone. He was
Well,
also
thank you,
working.
Strike Zone.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he got like 3 or 4 million points on one character. So
It was over 4 last time I checked.
Yeah.
And that was like,
yeah,
I guess that was on the weekend. So yeah.
you can actually probably still see it because that leaderboard is.
Yeah.
The previous leaderboard is still in. But yeah, it was that was awesome, and I think he's also working on the whole PvP,
Yes.
getting to 100 Valor or something like or whatever that is.
Oh.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's what he's
Valor
trying to
100.
do. Yeah, so
That's a pain.
was another goal that he was working towards. So they kind of aligned, and it helped us out a lot.
That's
so that's
an
good.
exponential curve to get to Valor rank 100. It takes the same amount of points to get from 90 to 100 as it does to get
and
from 1 to 90.
he's above 90 right now.
Yeah.
If I remember correctly. So,
Yeah, I'm at about 90 on 2 characters, I think, but
Yeah.
not 100 on any of them.
Yeah. So it was good. We had a good time. I'm glad we won it. I'm glad it's not another one right away.
And I know
because it's you got to do so much to get it done. So
Oh, there's the cat. I know we're short on time. Going to get in trouble
Yep.
here, but 7.3.1, the update also dropped, which started a new galactic season. So this is the battle pass system for Star Wars: The Old Republic. It's called Galactic Seasons. So this is their 5th galactic season, and I did a pan through here of a bunch of the rewards. You do challenge, you have like challenge objectives throughout the week. Maybe we'll do some tonight on ops if I can get if we can get wrapped up here.
If we end anytime soon.
But it's fun challenges. Some of them you can do with groups. Some of you can do solo. Some of them are easy. Some of them are a little bit harder. Some of them you get a couple more points than other ones, but it is a really good system. I think it is. No Man's Sky is slightly different in the way those challenges work. For more traditional battle pass systems, I think Star Wars is one of the best. I think they really do a good job with it. You do get more rewards if you're a subscriber than not, but you do get a fair number of rewards if you're even free, not paying anything. But the challenges and the objectives and what you get are all pretty cool and well done. And it's the kind of thing that makes you play, but not feel bad if you don't play, and you can pay in-game credits or dollars to unlock it and like get all the rewards, even if you miss. I think it's one of the best kind of battle pass systems. And then, as Zen is mentioning, with the update, I think I've got pictures here. They also
the cartel items.
they also added cartel items into the cartel market, which is the cash shop. But they went deep into Ahsoka and Mandalorian stuff in the cash shop, which they didn't used to do that. I mean, they would do small tie-ins and like of something that looks like they had like Kylo Ren's lightsaber. It wasn't exactly Kylo Ren's lightsaber. It looked kind of like it.
But they also had that. They came out with that the Mandalorian armor that was kind of based on him. With the gun also.
And they did it that way on purpose. They said they didn't.
Yeah.
They wanted it to look like it was 3,000 years before, and it inspired what came later. Now, like you look at the Mandalorian helmet bundle, it's Bo-Katan, the armor, and Pax Vizsla's helmets.
Paz Vizsla,
Has Paz Vizsla, and they're pretty spot on. And I wonder if this is like a broadsword thing where they feel a little more flexibility, and they decided to go a little bit more this direction because they have Ahsoka Tano's lightsabers. They have what's his name's Thrawn blue man groups.
So Thon is gonna have to buy this outfit for his his Thon do whatever it is.
So,
but they did also have a
lightsabers.
uniform that kind of looked like that a little bit in the game. So.
Yeah, they had some stuff that was close. The Imperial officer, the white Imperial officer armor. It's not too hard to look like a Thrawn outfit. No. But this is Ahsoka's lightsabers with white crystals that looks, the white crystals have been in the game.
Mhm.
These are all rewards. These are all rewards you get out of the season. You get the personnel, and that's a deco. It's like a live person that you place as a deco in your stronghold. And they,
I
they
want
have
that.
like an idle animation.
I want that outfit for the
The
guy on
outlaw?
the bottom. Yeah, the outlaw guy.
Yeah, that looks really cool.
It's like a Cad Bane kind of thing.
It looks a little Cad Bane-ish, but even a little bit more Western.
Yeah.
So that's good. The Ahsoka Tano stuff is good. And Ahsoka Tano's armor set too. So yeah, have you guys done anything else with 7.3.1 yet? So you said not. Oh, it was just yesterday, so not yet.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
I
it just came
and
out yesterday. Yeah.
I just got home last night, and I'm still in that like kind of
In a
like
day,
coming
yeah.
down, but also not. Yeah, I'm like glad to be home, but not quite yet.
Yeah, not all the way there yet. That's where I was last night. Last night I had big plans. I was gonna play both
Yeah.
Star Wars, do some PvP, and play Starfield for like 6 hours, and I like stared at the wall instead.
Right.
I
had
I
big
tried
plans
to.
too.
Yeah, I
same
tried to
thing.
play do No Man's Sky last night.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I
I'm gonna have
didn't-
to finish the expedition. I'm gonna have to get back to
Yeah.
that. So
I was like, I'm going to turn my computer on, but first I'm just going to lie down for a second
I'm gonna do
because I got home
that's-
around 10:30.
And that second became 5-6 hours.
Yes, it was a long nap. Then when I rolled over, it was like 3:00, and I'm like, I can still get up. I'm like, yeah, no.
Well, I have big plans. This weekend I gotta do one more week of PvP objectives, so I make sure I get past 17, and I'm at like 16 and a half right now, so that won't be hard. Then I'm gonna stop the PvP season and just do GS Galactic season. So then I gotta finish my Galactic season objectives. I want to finish, although we've got actually a month and a half. I got to finish the No Man's Sky expedition, and then I got to play Starfield. Work. Pity me. I got
Me,
so
not
much
that
to
kind of
do,
work.
so busy. All right.
Yes.
We also have an ops night tonight. Better jump over to that. I'm going to be a couple minutes late while I drag my PC back upstairs.
Are you going to be streaming it?
I may try to stream it. So we're trying to do that more for people that listen to the podcast. We're also trying to stream a little SWTOR because we miss it weekly. So we'll see how that goes. But I think for today, for us, Corley, really appreciate you coming on. I love
Yeah.
the
Thanks
PAX
for having me.
stuff. Do you want to get you back on to maybe do a whole episode focused around survival games? We'll see where that goes. What was the new one that
Fallen or Forever Skies.
Forever
was the one
well,
that-
Forever Skies is what we've been playing, and that's relatively
Yeah.
new. But there's another one that popped up, Deep Swamp or something like that. Swampy Swamp.
That sounds so attractive. Let's
I
go.
don't remember.
That's been hot in the survival threads in the last week. So we're gonna have to investigate that too. So we'll do that at some point coming up.
Have,
But really
like,
appreciate that.
mugginess and leaches and big bugs.
Yeah.
Sounds great.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah, fun.
In Starfield, every time you land at a spaceport, they always say you better search your ship for heat leeches. I don't know if those are actually a thing, but they sound.
One day like Minox or something.
Yeah. Minox. This isn't a cave. All right, so that's it for us today. We got to go play games. We got an ops night tonight. All the feed and subscribe links are on newoverlords.com, and the video is going to be up soon on YouTube/newoverlords. You can also come chat with us, please, in our Discord at newoverlords.com/Discord. And while Discord is best, you can also follow us on Twitter, Mastodon, Blue Sky, and Threads. Usually look for Max the Gray, and you will find me or the New Overlords or New Overlords in a couple of places too. And we will keep you up to date in all of those places. And with that, we will talk to you soon.
Later, everyone. Take care of yourselves.